All right. Welcome you all. I am Baron Baptiste. Welcome to Disrupting the Drift. We're here disrupting the usual ways of thinking, living, acting. And I say usual ways, those ways that don't serve you any longer. You know, a place here, a space where we can have higher, bigger conversations, we can vibrate at a higher level. And hopefully, you know, our commitment is you come away with something new that enriches you, affirms what you're up to in life that you want. And I'm here today with a very good old friend of mine. He's not old, but we have a friendship that goes way back, better said. and really, Brandon Campione, he's from Baptiste Power Yoga Boston, the owner of Baptiste Power Yoga Boston. Brandon, I've wanted to actually get you on here with me for a while. You know, you're someone who I just know you as an inspirer, and better said, like someone who gets in front of people and really can light up a room, can leave people moved, inspired for just a bigger way of life and living. Starting right here in the moment, like present tense, right now, making a shift, making a difference. So welcome, Brandon.
Well, thanks so much for asking. Thanks so much for having me, Baron. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. You know, you want to just tell a little bit about yourself, like your background with, as a leader, teacher, and whatever else you want us to know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I grew up playing a lot of sports when I was young, and I had a father who coached me and guided me into karate. And I kept going into wrestling. Wrestling was a huge training for me in my life. When I look back and I say, what got me to the path of yoga? And just being on the mat and dealing with another person face to face and working with that when I was younger. Now I can see these attributes that I've been building as a kid have been expressed in my practice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does that answer?
Yeah. Let me say this. So a couple of things come to mind. I want to hear from you. Like, how did you get started as a teacher, as a leader? That's one thing. And I think the conversation here, just to let everyone in on what we're up to here and what I'm up to here, I want to have a conversation around what it is to lead authentically and in total confidence. You know, what it takes. So this won't be a long conversation, but I want it to be an enriching and valuable conversation for anyone listening. So ideally, anyone walking away kind of can look at themselves, their own sense of leading themselves. It always starts with us, and just holding a possibility of a new level of confidence and authenticity, whether leading themselves or others. So you want to share a little bit. Now, look, I'm going to ask you a question. How many people do you think you've taught over the years, like led through, if you think of all the classes you've taught, all of the workshops, all of the trainings, you know, you're someone who's been at the front of the room, a lot of rooms for a lot of years. How long have you been like leading and teaching?
23 years now.
Yeah, 23 years, and not to small groups generally. How many people do you have any sense of about how many people you've touched directly?
It has to be hundreds of thousands, I would say.
Likely, right?
Yeah. I mean, could do the math, but I would say that roughly.
Yeah, I would imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, and if all the times I've taught from the day one to I taught, I would say that with all my podcasts and everything, more than that, maybe a million.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, good. I like that.
Who knows? Even more. You don't know. You never know.
Well, I know you'd be a guest teacher at a lot of my trainings and level ones, level twos. By the way, level one's coming up this week. It starts actually tomorrow, and I'm getting my headset on, you know, my headspace, getting my body, mind, and being kind of in the space of leading level one. So this conversation with you is perfect. And so let me ask you this. When you started out teaching, would you consider yourself authentic and confident?
You know, I'll tell you, Baron, I remember I was selling real estate in Boston.
Mm.
And I used to go to the Hour of Power down on Columbus Ave. And
Columbus
every time
Ave,
the
the studio in
Baptiste
Columbus.
studio
Yeah.
on Columbus Ave.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
I'm down in Boston. If anyone who doesn't know where that is, that's in what part of Boston is that? It's right off Newberry
it's
Street.
Back Bay. Yeah, it's in
Back Bay, Boston. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I was
that the
teaching
Back
on
Bay
Newberry
studio.
Street,
Yeah.
which is like the big street in Boston, you know.
Yeah,
My
that was
suit
a
on
cool
and
studio. Yeah, yeah.
it was
That's
great.
right.
It was
Yeah.
great. Such old school.
Yeah.
And every time I left there, I felt amazing. And I just
Yeah.
felt terrible when I was teaching real estate. So, you know, my friends were like, well, you know, you should teach yoga. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. And then I didn't have a certification or anything. So I made one up, and I came from the School of Life. I made a certificate up for myself. And one of my teachers out in Western Mass, like, certified me, you know, but back then in what was it, 1999 or something, 2000.
It must have been
there.
more. Yeah. 2002.
2001.
I want to say I opened that studio. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Somewhere around
Probably,
2001. Yeah. I think it was 2001.
Okay, 2001. Okay.
But, you know, I just started teaching at a racquetball club for $20 an hour. And the first class, there were 60 people. I couldn't believe it because I sold them. I was like, you wouldn't believe it. I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And I went in with confidence, right? And then week 2 came and there were 30 people. And then week 3 came and there were like 10 people. And I was like, oh. And I started to see like, this is a lot of work. And then, you know, I got a job down at a small studio out of town in Newton, and I started teaching in the heat, and I just started teaching a lot, like 18, 19 classes a week. I didn't know what I was doing, you know, but I had a lot of hope and I had a lot of intention, and I loved the practice. And I was like, I knew it. I said, I knew it. I knew I could do it because I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, I knew it's just like time stopped, and I put my whole life into it. So I said, how can I move this forward? Like, how can I help people feel what I'm feeling right now? Yeah. So it was like, it was a game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Wait, so yeah. So no, really good. So you started off with confidence, maybe some arrogance.
Yeah.
Right?
Bad.
Yeah. And then the hot air gets let out, right? We all go through that. Look, I know all about that one. Like coming in hot, coming in confident, and then wait. The hot air starts getting let out. Yeah.
Gandhi says, this says, Socrates says this. And I have it all planned out. And I walk, I'm like, oh, that was so good. That was so good. Then it started getting real. Like, I was like, okay, I had to deal with people like breaking down in my class. And I was like, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even when I was teaching in Boston, Baron, I was struggling. When I opened my studio in Northampton.
Wait, when you say Boston, the Back Bay studio.
Yeah, because I came in. I remember you called me up and you were like, can you teach me? And I'm like, I never taught at that studio. And then you were like, and then I went in and taught. And,
I called you up and asked you
you called me up. It was the first class I taught. Yeah,
wow.
Like I know. I walked in the room, there's 90 people, and they're like, who is this skinny? Who are you? And I go, I'm not Baron, I'm Brandon. And people welcomed me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember that. Well, I had confidence in you.
Yeah. Well, I brought it.
Here we are. And you brought it, right?
I did.
That's what I saw in you. But you know what? Look, what I've always seen in you is, you know, because confidence is not necessarily caught. It's kind of created over time. And I love how you explain how like being in the classroom, like in the trenches and leading. And when you say you didn't know what you were doing, I'd question that like this. You knew, maybe you didn't, you knew what to do in a basic sense. Like you knew the journey into power sequence. Is that so? Just from practicing it?
Yes.
Had you done level 1 yet?
No, I just went. I went with you in 2005.
So that came later, but you knew the journey into power sequence.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. We used to have teachers meetings and development like clinics with the teachers. So you were in those, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But then, so you had you had some methodology. Is what I'm saying. You had some tools. So you were showing up and you didn't know exactly the big picture, but you did have something to rely on.
Yes.
Like methodology. Is that right? 100%. And then that gives a certain kind of confidence, because even if maybe you're insecure in yourself, like, I don't know what I'm doing but you had something when you stand in front of that room, in front of people, you knew to say, okay, child's pose. Okay. Downward facing dog pose. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Forward fold. Okay. Sun salutation A 5 times. Okay. Sun salutation B 5 times. Flip dog, like side plank. Yeah. Crescent lunge, high lunge, like that, right?
Yeah.
You had that.
100%.
Like you had a map, like a true north.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And that gives its own kind of confidence, right? Because it gives you something to measure up against. It gives your confidence in your knowledge of the methodology. That's one thing. And then there's having confidence in your delivery, right? Speak to that, because here's where I'm going with this. I want to ask you about authenticity. Like, what I always saw in you, you had a kind of raw authenticity about you, just, who you are. And to me, that has its own air, like its own quality is a better word, of confidence. Mm-hmm. But do you see yourself, like early on, did you see yourself as an authentic teacher? Probably not, but I'm asking, like, I'm curious.
I don't know
how
what
it was
people
for
meant.
you.
I don't know what people meant when they were telling me you're so authentic, because I wasn't authentic. I wasn't authentic at all. And it's still hard for me to be authentic. Yeah. Honestly, like for real, if you're being honest, like for real.
Yeah, please.
I do my best,
Yeah.
I do my best at expressing myself and telling the truth and being transparent. But it's a process. It's a process. Like you talk about, like, anything, any art, any discipline is a process, and you have to practice and practice and practice. I read that methodology, Baron. I eat, sleep, drink the methodology. I study it. I think about it. I go to sleep with it. I love it so much. And I keep looking through that context of the methodology. So
still
takes, all the time. It's like, be a yes. I have to invent that and create that every day and discover it every single day. Give up what you must. It's all part of the training and the evolution of who I am as a teacher. And it doesn't stop. And I always say I'm just a beginner. Like, when I really look at it, I always say, you know what, when you look at yourself 10 years from now, you're going to laugh at the silliness and the immaturity that you were as it, and I'm not condemning myself at all. I'm just looking at myself now from where I was 10 years ago. Yeah. So there's a certain humility around that lays the foundation for authenticity. It's humility. No, and it's suffering.
That. You never arrive.
No. Like, and I think it's a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
Opening your eyes and, and seeing the suffering in the world and realizing that you're really nothing. And in that nothingness, you realize you have to create yourself to be something, to serve something bigger. And this is practice. Yeah. And humility to be like, and the lineage, Baron, this is the thing too. It's just like, when I look at the lineage of Baptiste Power Yoga and where you came from, I honor that. I see how it has to be transmitted and not only transmitted and shared physically, but embodied as a student, so you can pass it on. And that's tough. Yeah. Like, you go ahead, yap all you want, be a yes, give up what you must. If you're not doing that and being that, good luck. Good luck on the floor. It sucks.
It's just a bumper sticker, right?
Yeah, it's not fun. Teaching sucks when you're not authentic.
Yeah, it's draining, right? Oh God! I remember for years people would come to me and they'd say, I'm so burned out. And I said, well, look no further at your authenticity. It's right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like I can't stop teaching because it gives me a chance to true up in front of people.
Yeah, I would say,
show me who I am.
Yeah, if you lose freedom, if you're experiencing a loss of freedom in your self-expression, a loss of freedom in just being free to be, just be who you are, free to be yourself, free to be true. A loss of power, your power in just being able to, hey, we're going this, as in your leading, we're going this way.
I always tell people about that with you. I go, my teacher's always like, you can stay where you are, but we're going this way.
Yeah, you be there, no problem, man. And we're going this way. Right. You can join, or you don't need to get on the train, but this train's going this way.
Yeah.
But a loss of power, and also power means to me, the ability to take an intention and kind of turn the intention into reality. So, intention, you could say, is like, maybe it is not a possibility, but it's like a possibility. It's, lives in concept, but to create that, a possibility into the physical universe, right? Into physicality, physicalness, like grounded in the body, grounded in the physical environment, the physical universe, to make it real in your own experience as a leader, teacher, and then in those that you're leading in a class, in an audience, what have you. But if there's a loss of power or a loss of freedom, best place to look is your authenticity. And then it's probably correlated to fear, right? Like fear, somewhere we stop being true. We stop being ourselves. We start self-censoring, we start hiding, we start, covering up out of some kind of fear, but that cover up is an inauthentic. Now you've got a mask or different masks for different people in different situations. And then you show up to teach and lead, and it's like, you're not there. You're behind a mask, you're back there, but you're leading with a ghost and not you. And like, wait, where am I in this? And then, but that's draining to keep that scaffolding, holding up a not you, that in an authenticity. And maybe you're very good at spitting out, directions and alignment in yoga speak or Sanskrit or whatever your jam is. But the container is contaminated, or the container is restricted, constrained, blocked. Like that, right? I mean, do you still know, like you still teach consistently, right?
Yeah, Baron, what came up to me, it's just like,
yeah, go ahead.
It's this one of the biggest things, and you teach about this, is the concern for looking good and not looking bad.
Yeah.
When you get up in front of people, and it's just like these are like chops that we have to develop in ourselves as teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not afraid of people.
Yeah,
like literally, so yeah, it's like, how many classes a week do I teach? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
I think 11 right now.
Yeah.
But I'm driving back and forth on Mass Pike a lot. So that's kind
From
of
where you live to where you teach. You teach at Baptiste Power Yoga, Boston.
And in Northampton too.
In Brookline and in Northampton. Yeah. 11 classes a week. So you're in the trenches almost every day, likely. Yeah. And do you still grapple with that freedom, that power, day to day, or the kind of being authentic, the confidence? Like, do you still grapple with that?
Every single time I teach, every moment I'm teaching.
Yeah.
Every single moment I have to restore my integrity. Every single moment I have to restore my vision. Every single moment I have to wake up and actually see what's in front of me and listen. If I'm not doing that, I'm gone. I'm in a trance.
Yeah. I love it, man. That's it. That's how it is, man. That's the dance. I think a lot of people quit leading because they think it should just be smooth and easy. And like, I've arrived and I've got it wired and dialed in. And then when it's not like that, it's easy to take yourself out or just quit. But to me, it's that long game, and you've got that long commitment. And it's really, to me, that is what being a yes is in the real sense, and the way we use it in our methodology. But it's being a yes, not as concept, but as a reality. And like you just laid it out, it's like it's a moment to moment to moment phenomena. And you have tools, right? Like, I don't know, when I'm leading, I lean into the methodology. So if I'm not feeling all free, if my self-expression is somehow restricted on that day, if I'm not in like my power, don't quite have access, I can lean into the methodology. And then that methodology, I measure my power up to that, taking, whatever the 5 organizing principles of True North alignment, right? Okay. Be intentional in creating the physical foundation of the pose, be up to something bigger than yourself, right? Okay, how can I take that from a concept that's coming out of my mouth or it's in my intention and make that real for me and for every person in that room? The physical foundation. You all separate your feet, separate your hands, awaken your hands like rays of the summer sun, like lift your 10 toes, spread them.
It's funny, Barrett. I grapple with that. Yeah. I've always, this is the thing I grapple with the most out of all the methodology. It's this inquiry of like being up to something bigger than yourself. Like the delivery, the whole delivery of it and everything. It's just like what you just said about like, can I actually take that off the paper and create it as me being something bigger than myself right now?
Yeah.
Every
yeah.
word that comes out of my mouth, every time I drift off, can I come back and remember that?
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
But that's why I like it, you know?
But that, if you don't quit, you can't fail over the long run, right? Look, the truth is you're humble and you also have a mastery. Like when you're leading, you have a mastery. I know that about you. And that's why people, flock to your classes and over the long term. But okay, level 1 in mind, we've got level 1 coming up tomorrow. I want to invite anyone who's listening who hasn't done level 1 to take that on. You don't need to do level 1 to accomplish what Brandon and I are speaking about. Like, it's in my book, Journey into Power. Like, it's all right in there. And that's one way, a fast way. The faster way is to come into a level 1. The link is in the comments. But this is what I want to say. What kind of to wrap up what we're talking about, Brandon. Like in level 1, one of the first things I do with people is we go through a fear exercise. Like we call it the fear body, because people don't realize that the fear that we hold in our body is what colors our self-expression, right? It colors the vehicle of so if I'm leading a class, leading methodology, leading a practice, leading a team, giving a talk to a group, if fear is in my container, my body, my vehicle, well, that's where I'm coming from, or whatever I'm saying is being expressed or filtered through this fear body. So in level 1, we go through this practice and this exercise of, over the course of the training to really confront fear and learn how to be with fear, experience fear, so that you have fear, no problem, but it doesn't have you. And then we look at, okay, what are the practical tools? How to lead and build confidence in delivering the Journey into Power sequence, or the 5 organizing principles of True North alignment, which I want to touch in with you really quick on. And then the other exercise I think is very key in level 1, we do this whole body of work, as you know, Brandon, around authenticity. And the place you start with authenticity is really the access to a new way, to true confidence, let's say, or to any kind of new way of being, new way of expressing. It's going to be through authenticity. Authenticity is not the goal, but authenticity opens up a whole realm of just freedom. Yeah. And you have to confront where you're not being authentic. And that's what you're very good at doing. You were just sharing earlier, like where you're not authentic, like moment, and it's a cleanup, moment to moment, day to day. We don't arrive in that, right? But is there anything about, so if you're able to deal with your fear, right? And you're able to be authentic in a moment, speak to, Brandon, just something about the confidence that rises up in the space of authenticity. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there?
yeah. I feel it when we do the training, when we do the work, when we meditate. There's a subtlety and energy that rises when you start giving stuff up. I mean, anyone who's given anything up can maybe connect with that idea of some energy starts rising. And this is what vinyasa is. What I've experienced is we do the training, you put everything in the gear, and then you let go. You get up, and you taught this to me. You said you get up and you open your mouth. As long as the training's there and you have your feet on the ground and and you're okay to speak in fear, and you've done the training to get up and speak in fear, then some magic happens. And it's this is what I look for every single class.
Yeah.
And you don't get that all the time. Sometimes it's dark and tough. But I look for that magic, and you showed me that going to level 1 and watching you. It's that's what I aspired to, whether it's a master musician and master drummer, and I see the way they practice or the way they live and the way they teach. It's doing the work, doing the practice. And when you do the work and you do the practice, something happens that wouldn't have happened unless you did that work. Yeah. And something starts moving through you, and you can see it in people's eyes. You can see it in any artist's eyes who are channeling that, but you got to practice. Yeah. It's you're not born that way. You practice. You practice and you train. You get trained, you invest in your own training, your own development.
ongoingly, not
I
like
used
as a
to laugh
one-time
at
event.
you. I used to laugh at you when you used to go, you're going to go to level 1 again. I'm like, level 1, I already did it. And it's like,
That's right.
when I look back, it's
Like,
like
huh?
the last, I go, did I do this? Where was I that last time? And
Yeah.
I'm always learning foundation, coming back, present,
Yeah.
be right here, be right here, be right here. All the trainings, all the work, everything I've ever done in my life was to be right here, right now.
Yeah.
Just right here.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is all I got right here.
And then to be able to deliver direction, like vision, like possibility, intentionality. And then, okay, we're going here. This foot here, this hand, this arm here. Yeah.
Training. That takes
here.
training.
Yeah.
You know?
Training.
And I say
right?
like, like there's training, and then there's coaching, and then there's teaching. And like the way you learn to teach is by teaching. You don't learn to teach through training or anything else. You learn to teach through teaching. It's like when you play a sport, you learn so much by being in the game, not just on the practice field, by being in the game. So
absolutely. Yeah. You have to be in the action of it, the world of action, the world of creation, like in real time in the physical universe. I don't think anything replaces that. No, you can read books till you're blue in the face. I actually like reading books about anything, but in something like what we're taught, I used to always recommend, you could read Journey into Power, like my book, before the training. It's great because people had asked, should I read it? I said, you can if you want to, you don't need to. It will be way more valuable to read Journey into Power, that book, after you've done the training. It'll mean a lot more to you then. It'll mean even more to you after you've been teaching for 3 months, 6 months, a year. Read it, then it'll have a whole other meaning because you'll see where it applies, the application of it.
But, Baron, I honestly, God, the last had to be a year and a half that I've always stopped and just been mind blown by being like, wow. I always used to go to when I was to level 1, I go, why doesn't he teach it this way? Why doesn't Baron teach it? And now I'm like, oh, I see why he does it that way. I see why he trains people and just being, and giving the simple tools that work. That's the thing, is that like Baptiste yoga, the Journey into Power sequence works. Yeah. It works. It's the best sequence in the world. And people say, oh, how do you teach that every day? It's like every single time I teach it, it's different and it's better. And it's like, it gets deeper and deeper. If you start trailing off that, you never deepen the possibility that's underneath the physicalness of it.
Skinny and deep, man. And that takes you way
skinny
up
and
high.
Deep. I like that.
Yeah. Narrow and deep. It's like, it's very true. Yeah. I same. I mean, I've never taught, I'll teach Journey into Power sequence every class, but I've never taught the same class twice.
Yeah.
It's like you don't step in the same river twice. Not if you're being present there.
Yeah.
You're really there and you're generating the practice from what's out there in front of you, right out here in front of you in, the participants in the classrooms, right? The students, the bodies, the movement. If you're generating that sequence true in real time, like as lived in the moment, as expressed in the moment, it can't be the same. It just can't. None of us are the same moment to moment.
That's what's awesome though. And I think that's what people feel when it's approached with discipline and with love and attention.
Yeah. And that's the magic of
true art.
A level 1 training. It gives you that foundation and that training, the tools essentially that get, kind of hardwired in you. So you're then freed up to show up and just be present and then give, the intention, the direction, the possibility for that practice. It's got structure, it's got clarity, it's got that, linear quality, but you're not operating from a linear place. It's very organic and real in the moment, right? So, very good. So really good. Before we wrap up here, so I want to ask you about the 5 organizing principles of True North alignment. That's foundational to what we teach in level 1.
Yeah.
Right. Along with the Journey into Power sequence, the 5 organizing principles. So the first organizing principle, do you remember them all?
Come on.
Okay.
What's the
first one?
Organizing principle number 1. True North organizing principle number 1, to be intentional in creating the physical foundation of the pose and being up to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Principle number, you want number 2? Principle number 2, balance, surrendering. Well, create Sthira Sukha Asanam.
Yeah.
Number 3,
stability and freedom.
Yeah.
Right.
Create
the Sthira Sukha Asanam, the stability and freedom, those two principles, qualities, whatever you want to call it, are present in every moment of each movement. Stability
Made possible
and
from the foundation. Made possible from the foundation.
Yeah, very good. What's the third one?
Your core, your hands and your feet, and your bandhas, to be conscious of your core, your hands and your feet, and the placement of them in space right now.
Yeah, extremities to core. So you're integrated up from the hands, feet, to the center and core of your body, and then the core and center. The force moves out to the extremities like that. Yeah, very good. What's the next one?
Total body integration. Pull out, pull in from the inside out, pull in, press down, and lift up.
From the outside in. Yeah.
From the outside in. And number 5 is total body expression. Move, lift, and express. Move up, move, lift, and express. Wow, I got to tighten it up. That might not be exactly it.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty good. But we have to go back to the third one, the 5 pillars. So you got to. So talk about the 5 pillars. What are they?
Drishti,
organizing
vision.
Principle number 3, right? Or the 5 pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first one is
Drishti,
which
vision.
is what
Vision.
in English. Yeah. Vision. Your gaze, like the discipline of, your vision, right? Setting your eyes, your gaze. Very good. What's the next one?
Ujjayi.
Yeah.
Breath, yogic breathing, throat breathing, audible breath.
Yeah. The full, long, deep, whole body breaths in a rhythmic flow, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next one?
Heat. Tapas.
Tapas.
Oh, well, it's foundation, actually. No, it's foundation.
So you already spoke to bandhas. Yeah.
It used to be Ujjayi, right? It used to be Uddiyana Bandha and Journey to Power. Journey to Power, it's Uddiyana Bandha.
Bandhas. Yeah.
And then it evolved into hands, feet,
bandhas,
core.
all the bandhas. Yeah. All 5 of them, rather than just the one. Old school is one. The Uddiyana is the abdominal lock, just for those who don't know. And then it's like all the locks, hands, feet, abdominal lock, and pelvic floor lock. But okay, so that's third. But then, and then we got fourth is what?
Tapas.
Okay. Yeah, tapas is what?
What's tapas? What's is the healing heat that's generated by the metabolic fire.
That generating heat. Yeah. Yeah.
And desire and love. Desire and passion and commitment is part of tapas.
Like you're being pulled. Tapas, you're being pulled towards something, or something's pulling you. Yeah.
It's like not only a burning, but the fire gives off a light. So it gives us vision and the light of awareness, right?
Yeah,
and then flow,
that heat. Wait, that heat, the tapas heat, that is also a purifying at in the physical universe, physical body. It's like it's got this detoxification quality, right? Sweat, heat,
steam.
Healing heat
to the tissue.
Yeah. Okay, and then what's the 5th pillar?
Vinyasa.
Yeah, say something. What's that?
Oh, this is straight out of Journey to Power. Vinyasa is energy that what is it?
It's flow, right?
It's flow. It's flow. It's the movement of the universe that organizes everything into an ecosystem of goodness that works on your behalf. That's right out of Journey to Power. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Like an energy that's it's expansion, contraction. It's just a movement of life. It's in everything that's alive. And when we breathe and we listen and we move to that, we develop a deep communion. That's yoga.
Yeah.
Power vinyasa yoga to know that we're connecting to vinyasa.
Yeah.
And then there's a dissolving, right?
Yeah. Point to point on a vertical, like an upward flow. It has a quality of moving up. And even if you're moving back down, 3 steps back or down, there's 4 steps up, and maybe sometimes there's 6 steps back and down, and then
I like that. Yeah,
but it's on a vertical, right? And there are plateaus in there, perhaps, but the flow is being moved. You're being moved by something greater than yourself. I think it comes back to that the first
organizing
principle of True North alignment is, be up to something bigger than yourself. That vinyasa is also you're moving and being moved by something bigger than yourself. Maybe your calling in life, your purpose in life. The practice is moving you. It's expanding you to contribute, to make a difference, to show up in service of. Maybe. I know that's the case for you and me, Brandon. Well, here we go. So I want to wrap this up. Again, level 1, all of this is going to happen tomorrow. Maybe Brandon, you'll need to drop in and teach a class. I'm putting you on the spot here.
It's okay.
But yeah, it would be awesome.
I'm never on the spot. That's life.
That's just life, right?
You got to be ready right now.
You get just ready. Right now is all we've got.
That's right.
Yeah. So level 1, if you haven't checked it out, again, link in the bio or in the description or comments. And then love to see you all. I'm going to be back here tomorrow for another live stream with Pam Radar. Do you know Pam Radar?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, she's awesome,
Yeah.
right? She is. I think her studio, she's in Vancouver,
Yeah.
Canada, right? Her studio Shift Power Yoga.
Yeah,
And,
I did a bunch of training with Pam.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
Yep.
she's phenomenal leader.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah. So she's going to join me tomorrow, and hopefully all you here on the call, thank you for visiting and joining us today. Brandon, thank you, my friend. It's always a joy to get to be with you, and great to know you're thriving and prospering and flourishing in your world of teaching and leading. Where can people find you for your classes?
You can check me out on iTunes. You get me on iTunes, Baptiste, Brandon Compagnoni, Baptiste Power Yoga.
And then if they're in Boston,
Brookline, 25 Harvard Street. And then Western Mass, Shiva Shakti, 17 Strong Ave. How's that for an address for a yoga studio?
Okay.
Strong Ave.
There you go. That's a stida.
Right? I knew it. Yeah, I knew it. I go Strong Ave.
I love how you say Harvard. Harvard. How do you say it again?
Harvard Street. Harvard Street. Yeah, you could be like Harvard Street. Yeah. Harvard. It's like feels horrible in my mouth. Harvard.
Right. All right, my friend. Be well.
Thanks so much,
you all
Ben.
for joining us.
It.
Yeah, you too. Peace out.